Hey, this is George from Upfish, your marketing automation expert, and today I'm going to run you through another Ply.io automation, which I use to essentially simplify all of my client engagements. It saves me countless hours by essentially making sure all of my notes are stored in one Google Doc. The reason for this is because I am one of these people who just do not have the discipline to pop into my CRM every time I have an interaction with someone, every time I get an email, or every time, more importantly, I have a call in my Google Calendar. I often forget to check my Airtable, check to open up their meeting notes, and then put it in front of me. So what happens is in practices, I have like 5 or 6 Google Docs of all of these notes, from prospecting to closing a sale to doing the project to offboarding and all of these things in between, all of the coaching notes. And it's a real pain. So what I have now is a system whereby every time a meeting comes in, so for example here's one I set with myself. Someone will come into my TidyCal, for example, they'll book a call. They'll say this is where I want it to be. They put in their email address. I have this automation, which essentially will look for that TidyCal information. If they already exist in my Airtable, it will just update the information. If they don't exist, it enriches them, creates a Google Doc, importantly, and puts it into Airtable. So what does that look like in practice? So here I have myself. So I just open up my folder. This is a meeting I booked with myself for the purpose of this. This is me, George Woodworth. This is my email address. It's a meeting source. And it has a meeting link here. So I click it open, and this will just have all of the information I want. But the problem is, of course, once it's created, will I remember to open this? So what I have now is a Ply.io simple integration here. It's this little button. Every time I have a call, I click on it. It will see if the person exists, if that meeting notes exists. Okay. I just map, and then what happened is it will open up the meeting notes before a call. So every time before I have my call, I just click on it. Meeting notes, the same meeting notes I have across all of the interactions. And it means that I don't then have millions of these docs all over the place. So how does this work in practice? Well, of course, we have the this make integration, which looks at TidyCal stuff, but that's not the cool thing. We're going to be looking at Ply.io for this. So what I want to do here to show you how we're going to create a new feature for internal use. It's an add-on to an app we already use, Calendar. And we're going to show you how to get this little icon in your Google Calendar so that you can open up these notes whenever you need it. So we'll first off connect our connection to Google Calendar. Press continue. We'll add an in-button event. So what this comes next is to the Google Calendar. I'll pick the fake meeting I made of myself. Okay, and then what it does is it offers you this little red dot here. So I already have one that exists, but we'll create a new one, so I show how to do it from scratch. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to give it a name. I'll call it grab meeting notes v3. We give it an icon, so it's easy to find. So it's just a random document icon. Let's use this one here. And then you press save. This will pull up the contextual event of the information, okay, that we've just set up. So this is my meeting with George at upfish.com. And well, Ply.io is kind of a new tool for me, so I might be doing this wrong. There might be a smoother way to do it, but this is how I set it up. First of all, I set up a table function, and I am adding items to a table. So essentially, the reason for this is there are, if I come here to the table information, the attendees, there's the attendee of myself, and the attendee of the person who's booking the meeting. I'm not interested in having meeting notes for George. I'm interested in having meeting notes for the client. Although in this case, the client is George because I use myself as an example, but whatever, I think you understand what I mean. I don't want to get meeting notes for myself. So we're adding this stuff to the table just to basically filter this information. So I'm just gonna map the email to email here. So if I type in here, search detail, email, we have the attendees, the email information, and we have the display name, which is from the contextual event, the name of the person, attendees, display name. Okay, so I'll use that as the first item. Did that work out well? Attendees, display name. Okay, so if I test this step, it's got everything I wanted. It's got the email address of the person, george@upfish.com, and it's got their name, George Woodworth. So now I need to add in a new step, which is going to be a filter, and that's just going to remove myself from the equations. So I'm going to filter the items, and I'm going to use the add items to a table. There's the information here, and the column is going to be display name. Oops, sorry, not display name. How do I delete this? No, email. Email does not contain case insensitive george.a.woodworth. So this is my Google address. So basically this means my personal email, the one connected to my Google Calendar, won't go through to the next result, just the one from the client. So if I test this step, we see the only person going through is george@upfish.com with his display name, which means we're ready to start the actual automation. So the first part here is going to be a logic branch. And it's going to be, does this person already exist in my CRM? Now, we've seen here, I have an automation always running, looking for TidyCal stuff, adding people to my CRM. I also have another apply.io automation called add prospect. So every time someone comes and sends me a message on LinkedIn or email, I run this automation, I press add prospect, I type in their name, I type in their email address or whatever, and it will add them to my Airtable. So if for whatever reason these two automations have failed, let's just say that I was the one who sent the meeting request and I forgot to add somebody. I just like to have a little bit of a backup in here. So what this will do is just triple check, does this person already exist? They should do, 99% of the time they will. But if they don't, I need to know. So I have here CRM yes or CRM no. And what we're going to do is add in before this a search on Airtable. And we're going to be doing a search records. And we'll connect it to our CRM. So this will be new CRM. And the table ID is, in my case, people. And the formula is email equals, wait a second, is my email capital E or little e? Let's check. My email is big E. Okay, so I'll come back, I'll change that. So email equals bracket, and then we add in the variable field here of the filtered items, email, use the first item. All right, so if I test this step, it has found the person. So obviously we just added myself to their table a little while ago, it's found my information. Okay, so I have here, now the filter, the CRM, does from search record, does ID, is record ID is not empty. Okay, so if it's not empty, we'll go to this branch, and if it is empty, oops, two branches. So if it is empty, this part of the branch will run, and if it's not empty, if it is not empty, sorry, it's a double negative. So yes, it is not empty. It means it isn't empty. Then we can start running the next part. So if it isn't, so now we know whether they're in the CRM or not. The next question is, do they have a Google Doc? So I'm going to add in another logic branch here, and we'll call it, we'll add a branch, and the branch is going to be called Google Doc exists, question mark. So this is based on the fact from the search records, does this field meeting links, does this exist or not? So is not empty. And if it is not empty, then it does exist. And if it is not empty, then it is empty, then it does not exist. So what is the point here? Point here is that, again, people might get added, although all of my automations should take care of this, there's always the chance that someone gets added to Airtable, but a Google Doc doesn't get created. If it is created, great. If it's not, I need to create a new one. So if the Google Doc does exist, it's pretty simple what we want. We just want an open URL into a new tab, and we'll just map in the field meeting link. So what happens is I come to this Google thing here, I click on this, it opens up a tab like we see here, meeting notes with George. Brilliant. I don't need to move into different tabs. I don't need to open up new docs, all of this. It's just always there. I no longer have 20 different docs doing the same thing. But what happens if a Google Doc doesn't exist? Well, ideally, what I would like to do is to create a Google Doc. Unfortunately, Ply, they don't have a native integration with Google Docs, so we can't do that easily. There are dev tools, so I can make an API request to a Google endpoint, ask that to create a Google Doc, which would be pretty simple, but I'm not going to do that. I want to keep it simple for you, the viewer. So what I'm going to do is open up a new URL. What this is going to do is just open up a tab direct to Google Docs like this. So if this opens up, then I know I need to create a brand new document. So that's a pretty simple thing for me to do. But importantly after that, I need to be able to copy and paste it into Airtable. And now, as we discussed, the reason I create this is because I'm not disciplined. I always forget to open whatever CRM I'm using, whether it's Airtable or HubSpot or Pipedrive, I always forget to open them. Luckily, I can use this application to short circuit that step for me. So again, I'm going to open up a new URL here. And instead, what I'm going to do, if I expand this record of George Woodworth here, we see the URL has changed. I've got my Airtable, got my base ID, my table ID, my view ID, and the record ID. So this can be made dynamic. So if I copy and paste this record, well, and I just replace the record ID with the one that I have in Airtable, then it will open this up in a new tab and I can just copy and paste it. There's no reason for me not to do it. So if I just publish this quickly, I'll show you how this works in practice. I come into my Google Doc before I have my meeting with George Woodworth. I click on Grab Meeting Notes 3. At the bottom left here, you can see the automation starting to run. It should realize I'm in the CRM, but I don't have a Google Doc. So what does it do? Here, it's created here, a blank document. So now I can just open this up, type it in. Once I'm finished with it, copy the link. It's opened up this record ID for me. So I can come just straight down to meeting link, add it in, it's all done. So it's not 100% automated. It can very easily be 100% automated. I don't need it to be, there are certain elements of manual input which I don't mind. So this is fine for me. So as far as this goes, where I'm at now, are they in the CRM? If they are, does the Google Doc exist? If it does exist, just open it up. It means I can have that one Google Doc for all interactions, which is so important for me. If it doesn't exist, then it will create a new Google Doc. I'll just copy and paste that into a new tab, which is opened up for me of my Airtable. So again, there's no touch. So the only part left of this is if they're not in the CRM. Again, if they don't exist, what I want to do is to put that, what little information I have into Airtable. Again, I can enrich this with Apollo, I can enrich this with Prospio. We've done it in a previous Ply integration, and obviously I have it in my Make integrations. And another option would be for me to make an API call to my Make scenario to enrich based on that information. But I want to keep this simple. One reason is Ply is new to me, so I don't want to make it overly complicated until I really, really get confident. And the other thing is I only get so many credits with Apollo and Prospio and all of this stuff. I don't really want to waste it for things like this, because a lot of people who book meetings with me, it's not serious stuff. So essentially what I want to do here is an Airtable. I want to create a record. I'm not going to bother enriching it for this example. Basically, keep it simple. Create a record, my base, new CRM, table ID, people. The name is from the filtered items, so display name. Email is from filtered items, email. I don't have the information to their LinkedIn profile because I haven't enriched it. Contact source is going to be calendar inbound, because if they've made a request for me and they're not already in my CRM based on all of the other different automations I have running, I don't really know where they came from. So I'll make this calendar inbound. No information on the campaign, and all good. So I'll test this step. Great, test successful. Next, what I want to do is I want to open up, basically I want to duplicate this step, and I will move it to here. So this step, as we recall, is just opening up a random Google Doc thing for me here. And then finally, I want to open up, duplicate this one here, move it to here. So what this does, again, opens up a Google Doc, I create it, and then here, the other URL is going to open up a link to the person's Airtable directly for me. Because well, now I have that info. I'll be on a call with them. So in terms of enrichment, I don't think it's so important. I'll be on a call with them. So as long as a tab opens up, then I can talk to them and say, all right, what is your LinkedIn? What is your company? What is your job title? What do you do? All of this stuff, and I'll enrich it through my notes. So the enrichment part for this is not so important. What is important is it creates a record, opens up a Google Doc tab, opens up the Airtable record again for me to fill out and add in that Google Doc stuff plus anything else I want. And that's finished. So this is, another Ply.io one. I can't package this and put it on my Gumroad, which is why I've made this such a longer video than normal to show you how to walk through it step by step. It's not a very complex one, but it can be more complex. So obviously you might be looking at this and thinking, I can change Google Docs to Pipedrive, I can change Airtable to HubSpot, all of this stuff to open up your specific workflows to make it work. You can use the HTTP module more, so you enrich people yourself. Instead of using Google Docs, you could use Google Slides, so that you're opening up sales pitches, sales presentations that are adapted to the information you have. My TidyCal, for example, with the contextual event, it just gets their name and email, but you could have a whole bunch of information and use that to further enrich this workflow. So in terms of what's possible, quite a lot. Very, very useful, I think. For me, it is essentially invaluable for the simple reason that I no longer have 20, 30, 40 different Google Docs for every single meeting I have. So Hope you found this video useful. It's always nice to use a different tool instead of Make, so this is ply.io. If you did like the video, please like and subscribe. Check out my Gumroad. You've seen my TidyCal page here now as well, so please book meetings with me. Anything else, shoot me an email or send me a comment. Again, I really hope you like the video. Thanks for your time.